We start NAEA 1 week from today in Minneapolis. I've never been there. I don't know about you. Let me know if you've been there before. I'm kind of excited to go, even though it might be still pretty cold there. But I'm with Tanya Avrith, the amazing Tanya Avrith from Adobe. So Tanya, I'll let you introduce yourself really quick.
Hey guys, I'm really excited to be here. This is one of my favorite groups. I love you guys. All the art teachers are the best. So I am excited to be joining you this evening. I'll be your lead on a creative activity together, getting you inside of Adobe Express. I feel like some of you in this room could be doing this session right now. So it's kind of like a nice community pre-event. And for some of you who are new, to Adobe Express, we're going to get you in and get you creating and get you to create your visual, your graphic to share out with the community as well. Um, I work on the community team as a community manager. Previously, I've been at Adobe for 5 years, so I've also worked as an education evangelist on our team. We will be at NAEA. Unfortunately, I won't be there. One of my dear friends is getting married that weekend, so I will be missing. But my team will be there, Martha and Will. And also Claudia will be there. So some of you know Claudia. I know Sherry knows Claudia. I know Shay knows Claudia. So Claudia Zavala Jr. will be there. And I will share a little more with you guys how we will be there. We are not just sponsoring, we are partnering with NAEA. So it's going to be a really nice opportunity to really connect with all of you there. So that's it. So Will's my brother. So Tim, go ahead. I'll let you take it from here.
Sure. So just to let everyone know, so we are the Art Media Tech interest group. Any art teachers that use technology at all, we've been around for a very long time, and it is very simple to join if you're not a member already. We do share webinars like this one every season. We do a lot of things at the conference, and we give away grants and awards. So it's always nice if you want to try a new technology and you don't have the funds for it. We do give them away. So March is also Youth Art Month. I want to make sure I mention that. So some of the projects we're doing today are great to actually bring into the classroom. I love using these kind of templates. This is really an easy, quick start activity. And Youth Art Month is a great time to share creative stuff anywhere. So a little bit about the AMT group. We're an interest group started in 1995. We give away 3 awards every year, and we give away 2 grants along with things like really fun activities like we're going to be doing at the conference. So you can see behind our image there is one of our activities from New York City where we did a photo walk with Tanya, which was so much fun. It was nice walking around the city, it's always nice when you go to a conference to be able to get out a little bit and take some pictures and do that kind of thing. And then we have a lot of activities coming up at the conference. So the biggest one is the digital playground. This is a brand new thing for NAEA. So I helped to organize it, and Adobe is one of the key sponsors. And it's really exciting to have them there. I mean, like, I love using technology and making art. So this is a space where we have 3 tables where teachers will be sharing projects they love. And then we have Adobe and Wacom that will be there as well. And Adobe has some fantastic people they mentioned that are going to be there. And Claudio alone is a superstar, so it's going to be great to have him share some of the things with people. And it's going the entire time of the conference, so all 3 days, and they're going to be right on the exhibit floor. So really exciting, and it'll be really cool to actually see. We also have a AMT and Adobe after party on Thursday night at Sociable Cider, and that's going to be really exciting too. So it's 6 p.m. It's before the NAEA party. Make sure to come out. And it's going to be a great time. We have some really cool door prizes for people that come there as well, along with some free food and things. We also have an AMT Petra Kucha, our awards meeting, and there's going to be a meetup of all the interest groups as well. So here's a quick look at the Sociable Cider Works. One of the cool things about Minneapolis is that, this was a place that was actually started, the owner's mom was an art teacher, and he was really excited about us coming there and sharing. And then this is what we're going to be getting to today. So this is the remixable template. I love doing these. Every time I go to a conference, it's nice to kind of share these out ahead of time, and do some of the work, and show what you're excited about. And I said this is my 10th NAEA conference, and I shared it out, and people reminded me that it's actually my 12th. So I have to edit mine and change it. But pretty cool. It's hard to believe I've been to that many as well. Uh, but kind of fun. And so that's a little bit about what's happening at the conference. And we also have a logo contest as well that we're going to be doing. So that's a little bit about the upcoming activities. And now we're actually going to go through some of the making. So let me know if you're new to Adobe Express. It's very, very simple to do. And I'll let Tanya explain some of how this works.
Absolutely. So we're going to jump in just a moment. I was just wondering, Tim, do you know if Will has joined us?
Yeah, he is there.
I'll just let Will just take a second and introduce himself because he will actually be there, and I want him
Oh,
to
excellent. Yeah.
give a name to the face. Will, are
Hi,
you there?
hi, I'm Will. I am the Director of Community Engagement here at Adobe for our K-12 community. Very excited to see all of you, and I look forward to see all of you next week at NAEA.
Thanks,
Excellent.
Will.
Yeah, we're excited to have you there.
So I'm so excited. I asked some of you if you have used Adobe Express. Please feel free to go ahead in the chat. I have the chat open. I'm like in the matrix. I have like chat here and like 3 screens here, and I'm looking at it all, and I'm going to share my screen in a second. And Will also will be in the chat, so you can also ask some questions as well. And so you have us there as a support. And I feel like there's a whole bunch of people on this call that, as I mentioned, are long-term Adobe education leaders or innovators. So we have a lot of support. So if you are brand new to Adobe Express, I'm going to start from there, and then we're going to get into it. So I'm just going to share my screen right about now. Let's see, share screen. Here we go. There we go. Are you seeing my screen? I just want to make sure, because it's always embarrassing when you're talking and you're thinking you're sharing your screen, but you're not.
You can see your screen. It looks like it might be a little clipped. It's very thin for some reason.
Thin?
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
Like it looks small?
It's like long and rectangular, which is
Okay, that shouldn't be happening. So let me just do that again. Let's see. That's definitely not. Let me share a different screen. Maybe it's just a matter of me being in a different that's never ever happened to me either before.
Yeah, I've never seen that. It's always nice to come across new technology problems as a as an educator. Like this is our world. So like, the quick pivot is always
That's okay.
is
Worst
always,
comes to worst, Tim, you'll share your screen and I'll talk you through it.
absolutely.
But yeah,
Sure.
yeah. I'm not gonna worry about that yet. So wait, let me go here. Let's try this. How's that?
There you go. Full screen. Looks great.
That's great. Amazing. Okay, and this is the right one. There we go. Fantastic. Okay. So let me just grab here, Express. There we go. So those of you who are brand new to Adobe Express, some of you may have it at your school or district and you didn't even know. That happens sometimes. So the way that you might be able to check this is if you go into Clever or ClassLink, depending on where your school kind of holds all their subscriptions or kind of technology. That might be one way of looking for it. You can also go to express.adobe.com and sign in as there's an ability that says teacher, so you could try to sign in as teacher with your school ID. And if you don't, that's fine. That's something that, for now you can use your own personal email, and accounts are free. So you can do that on your own as a teacher. But this is what it looks like as a teacher/student if you do have an EDU account. And you'll know it because when you log in, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, it looks kind of more student friendly. So what is Adobe Express? Adobe Express is a creativity suite that allows you and your students to create graphics, videos, web pages. It also allows students to create different types of media. For instance, you can draw inside of Adobe Express. There's a drawing function, and I'm not going to get into all these right now. I'm just doing a very high level because we're going to get into the tool in just 1 minute. There's also productivity features for yourself that are really handy. So if you quickly wanted to remove background, I don't know about you guys, but when I used to go into Photoshop and I had to be like a wizard to like remove the background, now it's like really easy. Just put in your picture and remove a background. There's also something called Animate from Audio, which is insanely fun, and it allows you to add animation to a character, and there's all these different types of characters. So you know the sky is the limit, and you can change different backgrounds, and you can put your own art. So you can have students put their art inside of the character animator and then have the artwork come to life and explain their work. So there's just so many things that you can do creatively inside of your blending analog and digital. You can create QR codes. Some of you may have maker spaces. I know Sherry does. I know that for sure. So you may want to have students creating and using a laser cutter or a Cricut. So you can actually create in Express and take that Express file, which is a PNG, and convert it to an SVG file, which is what, as we know, what you need. So there's some really great functionality in here. And I'll show one more before we jump into the tool, which I think is really handy. If you work at a school that has a parent or students who speak different languages, there is ability to upload videos and convert those videos with closed captioning and to different languages. So all kinds of really great stuff. And come to our booth, come to our sessions. We'll be able to show you more there. But for today, this is a beginner session. And I'm actually going to share with you a remix template that you will be able to use to create to get started. Does that sound good for everybody? Oh my God, it showed up, I think. All right.
By the way, I didn't realize that that became a quick action. That's so cool.
What, these things?
No, no, no.
Oh.
When you're, I saw when you were going through it. I love using the transcription, but I didn't see that as a quick action before. That's really nice.
Oh, the closed captioning?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a quick action. And when you put it in the editor, you can change any language that you want. All right. So let me just grab that link, and I'm going to share this with you guys in the chat. So let's just go ahead, everyone. Here we go. So
Yeah.
this is our page for NAEA. So everything that you need, and this will be actually in the, I think they have an agenda for everybody. So this will be in there as well, but you have access to it early. So this is how we will be at NAEA, and we'll go through that a little later, but this is actually where you can access our remix template for today. So I'm gonna just go ahead and click try it out yourself. It is helpful if you've already logged in. All right, so what I usually do is I'll log in first on the browser that I'm in, and then I will click on the template and remix the design. I just find that it's just like a quicker experience, and it allows me to log in the right way. So if you're using your school account, you can log in with your school account. So the way that I will do this with you guys today is I will create, and I will do it like this. I do, you do. How does that sound for you guys? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm not meaning to have fireworks go off every time I do anything. Okay, so I don't want you to feel like stressed, because if I'm going too quickly, I wanted to make it so that there is opportunity for you to watch me, and then I will give you time to create. And I'll tell you how I'm going to do it. I'm going to go first, and I'm going to demo, and we'll do it in chunks. So I will go, and then I'm going to have Tim share his screen, and then I'm going to walk Tim through it. So as I'm doing it, you watch, then we will walk Tim through it. At that point, you can go ahead and watch again, or you can go now and do your thing. Does that work for you guys? Awesome. Okay. So if this is your first time using Adobe Express, when you open up a template, you're going to notice a few things. First of all, every single element inside of this template is editable. So I can click on every single element, and they are actually going to show up as well on the right-hand side as layers. So if you have ever used Photoshop, if you are used to those Pro Tools and you're familiar with the concept of layers, or if you've used an overhead projector, you're familiar with the concept of layers, right? I know I was. So all of these are separate and you can edit them. And on the left-hand side, if I select one of the layers, it will give me my tools that I can then edit what I have selected. So it's really straightforward. On the top bar here, I have a few more pieces of functionality in terms of changing the background or the theme, but we're going to really focus right now on our sandbox here, like where we're going to create. And over here on the left-hand side, this is going to be our tools. So the first thing that we're going to do is replace the photo of a photo we want to use. So I'm going to click this over here. And this is, if you don't know Claudio, this is Claudio. I had to use a picture of Claudio. He's so cute. Look at that face. What's he staring off into? So cute. So I'm going to go over here and there is a little button under where it says image and it says replace. So there's two ways that I might replace. The first is I can go in and upload from my device. So if you have a photo on your desktop, you will just click on upload. And I'm not sure if you can see my photo. Sometimes it shows the screen, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm just going to grab a photo. All right. And you can use, if you want to use like a Bitmoji, you can use a Bitmoji, whatever is comfortable for you, go for it. Okay, so here's a photo of me making like a silly face, but that's okay. So I'm just going to let it load for a moment. All right. And let's see. I'm going to try to make it a little wider because it's kind of cutting, it's kind of cropping. So let's see what happens when I go crop. Yeah. See, it was cropping me out a little bit. So I'm going to kind of create it so that it makes it a little bigger. There we go. All right. And it didn't come in without the background, which is actually good. So I can show you how easy this is, but I'm going to click on this and then go remove background. So I'm just going to take a second and it's going to remove the background. Boom. That was really easy. That's the first part. Super, super simple. So I'm going to move this down. Right. Fantastic. And I'll, because I'm going to play a little bit with like where I'm pointing and where I move things around. So that's my creative, I'll get my creative juices later. So I went ahead and I just removed the background, changed out the photo. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that I'm going to change out and swap out or add really like what I'm excited about. So I'm going to be exploring, maybe I'm going to be exploring creativity. I'm going to be exploring the featured sessions. I'm going to be exploring the vendor hall, whatever it is that you're exploring. We tried to leave these a little vague so you can really make this your own. So in order to go out and swap that out, I'm going to just double click on the words that I want to delete. And then I'm just going to go in and I'm going to be exploring Adobe Express because let's be real, like that's what I'm going to be doing, right? All right. And then I'm going to talk about what I'm excited about. Excited about seeing my art friends. Like that's a big part of it. You're with your art friends from all over the country. That's amazing. So I'm going to be, I'm excited about that. Learning about generative AI. So maybe that's something that you're interested, learning more about AI. Maybe you're more interested about certain things. I'm going to keep that for now. And I will actually keep, this is not my first NAA. This is actually my second, if I were coming, it would be my second NAEA conference. So I'm going to go in and just swap out all those different pieces, right? And then I'm going to say, follow my adventures at, and I'll add my name. So you could put your Instagram handle, your X or Twitter or whatever it's called these days handle. And there you go. So that was really straightforward, right? Like super simple. We're going to start right there. We're going to come back, by the way, because we're going to take about 4 minutes. What do you say, Tim? Like 4 minutes?
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, so Tim, you're gonna we're gonna go through Tim's, but you're gonna also go ahead and start creating now. So now it's your turn to create. And this way, if Tim, or you have any questions, there's the chat, and you can also watch if you wanted to watch again.
Yeah, and I know some people may be watching this, it's being recorded, so some people may be watching it later. If you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out to. This is something that I use in class. This is my 4th time using Express today in school. So, it's something that we use quite a bit, and it's super handy. So I have the same template. I'm going to do the same thing with mine. And whenever I see these templates, I'm like, all right, well, how could I one up this and make it look as cool as possible? That's also one of the keys. And it's like, they're great to share because you also get to see who's going. So I'm going to press that magic button to switch the image and upload from
And
device.
by the way, Tim, if they didn't want to put a photo of themselves, they could also search through like the thousands of stock images that are actually like insanely beautiful and find,
it's super easy.
something in there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like you could even like put in art. It's like we're an art conference, so like you could switch in anything you wanted to, and do that too. So you have that a magic remove background tool for anything that you use as well. So a lot of fun to do, and
Erase that and bring back parts of it. By the way, if it's like missing, there's ways of editing it. So like if you can get super fancy here, like definitely.
exactly. Yeah, and we're art people, so like there's
kinda
no
like that,
rules.
actually.
There's no rules whatsoever. So you could bring in your own images. If you want, you just hit that media button and you could upload from device. So I'm going to pull up an image from my desktop of myself. And again, even like, I have curly hair. So, the green screen does not always work perfectly. This is just but actually this works pretty well. This is a photo from New York this summer, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of exploring and firsts here. So this is not my first. I remember this is now my 12th.
Wow.
I'm gonna go with this. There, we'll go with that.
So this is your 12th NAEA.
Yeah, and this one is kind of disappearing a little bit. So like, there's another trick to if you go down to shape. So any shape that you have, you could actually add a fill in the background. I like to pick a color, and I'm getting super advanced here, but I like to pick a color from the actual.
Well, we're going to get more advanced in the next part because we're going to go deeper. Yeah, we're going to go a little deeper. I wanted to make sure everyone could just foundationally, and this is, by the way, how I teach it to students. I usually will do 3 kind of versions of I do, you do, I do, you do. I call it crawl, walk, run. It's a really good way of teaching technology in general so that you don't overcomplicate students the first time they get into a tool. It's like anything, right? You want to get some foundation and then build up their skill set. So that's just a little trick I've learned over the years. Ooh, I like how fancy you're being. So I want you guys to use the chat and let us know if when you're ready to move on to the next part. So Tim has been sort of zhuzhing his up.
Yeah.
I love watching Tim's brain think as he's like creating. It's really fascinating to see like how he's like approaching his canvas right now.
Yeah, no, I get really serious when all of a sudden, like when it comes down to we're making something, this is where it gets like you got to one up and kind of like how do you make this your own in a creative way,
So
and also being true to like the moment too, like how do you be authentic?
So we'll keep it simple, right? Right, because we're going to come back and like we're going to show them some hacks. We are just learning to walk. And yes, Shay, I agree. I really like this template too because it's so bare bones, right? It's so bare bones. So Katie is asking, is there a way to make the text blocks bigger? Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
grab that corner if you want. Like these are set to dynamic right here, which is kind of I like dynamic. It's nice and bold, but you could literally change the size or you could just go to default and then actually choose what size you want. So
you can change the fonts, by the way, Katie. If you want to like go all out, show them how you go recommended on the fonts. There's actually like some recommended fonts as well.
yeah.
So you can.
So
You can Around.
One of the cool things about all the Adobe tools is that it generally doesn't give you one option, it gives you four options. You know, that's true with the AI too. I really like that because anyone that knows when you work with students, if you give them like, you know, one example, everyone's going to do that thing. But if you give a couple examples, then you get more creative results, which is cool too.
Amazing. All right, are we ready to go to the next level?
Absolutely.
Okay. Amazing. Thank you, Tim. I love what you're already starting to do. I'm excited to see how this is going to turn out. So let me go ahead. I'm going to share desktop 3. There we go. Just let me know that it's working.
Yep, that's good. And I
Okay.
know a couple people just came in. We're just in the middle of doing a quick tutorial on how to create your own template. I'll drop it again in the chat as Tanya is bringing us to the next step.
How to remix the template. I can show them how to create their own template at the end, though. I will do that. That will how we publish. I will show you how to make your own template. So what we have done right now is just replaced an image, and we went over very high level how to just replace the text, swap it out with your own text, like what you want to say. So that's super straightforward. As you saw, you just select, you replace, you can remove a background if need be, and go from there. Now, there's a few tricks that I'm going to show you now that will take this to the next level. Okay, so the first thing is this. So this photo of me right now, I feel the color is like it's like washing me out. I don't like love the color. And so there's some things I can do to my photos that I can play with in order to kind of change the color or kind of play with it that way. So the first thing that I can do, I can go and let me go back. When I select it, there's something called effects. So I can turn it into a grayscale photo. I can darken it. I don't love that either. I can colorize it. Don't love that. But what I really think is kind of fun and interesting is that I can do something called duotone. And I can actually customize the duotone. So this is kind of cool because it's a combination of the two colors. It kind of has that like Andy Warhol, kind of vibe. I find like those like pops of color. And so if I wanted to, I could actually go ahead and choose the color picker and get like identical colors and just select them that way. And this will probably kind of like look a little, it's just going to blend in really crazy. And then I can kind of like move them around and play with it. So these are just some like fun things that you can play with in terms of the colors. And I could also do the same with my icons, because right now it's an icon and I can go ahead and I can change those colors out. So I can either customize them that way. I can use a color picker if I wanted to bring in a palette. Sometimes I do that, by the way. I love palettes. I'm sure you all do too. Sometimes I actually go on the web, find palettes, and I upload it as an image. And then I use the color picker and I create my own palette inside of here. So that's really fun, something you can do. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of play with some of those colors and make them my own. So let's do that. And I'm going to just go into effects. For now, I'm going to just do this as a grayscale. I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. Okay. So these are some things I can do. We also started talking a little bit about font. Now, as Tim mentioned, I could use this as dynamic. I can do it as the default, can kind of play with it that way. There's the ability to also create it as a circle. That's kind of fun when you're like thinking about creating logos and things like that. Total side note. But I can also go here and I have more fonts than I probably could ever need. So I can choose them from here, or I can go over here and as Tim mentioned, I can look through them. And when I open it up, I'll get a few more options. And what I try to do usually is not use more than 2 fonts in my designs, because I find otherwise it starts to just look like a hodgepodge, as you can imagine. So when I go here, this is Montessori alternates. And so I will then go in after and sort of like swap them out if that's what I decide to use. But if I don't want to use it at all, I can just go back and undo it. And then of course, there's the background itself. Now, I can go up here and there's the background color, and I can choose my own color this way. I can also, if I want to, go to media. All right. And I might decide to actually bring in or insert an image. So I'm going to just do something. Let's try something for fun. All right, so I just put in art just to see what pops up, because what I might decide I want to do is grab something in the back and set it as my background. So there's some cool, ways, and I'm sure you'll come up with even cooler ways of doing this, but there's definitely all these kind of really interesting ways. And by the way, if you don't want to use those shapes, use different shapes. Like that's like, no, it does not look, it doesn't have to look anything like this. Like once you get comfortable with this, the sky is the limit. So let's, I'll show you one more. The last thing I will show you is this thing called theme. And what this is really cool, like as I mentioned, you can like bring in your own palettes, but there's also palettes that are ready to go over here. So right now I'm gonna grab, let's say I decided I wanted to have this kind of like, that's kind of neat actually. I don't hate it. So I can create like this pastel palette, and then I can kind of play around with like different color variations. So this kind of is mucking a little bit with the background here. So I'd have to go in and like play with the color of the font, but you kind of getting the gist of it, right? Like there's some different ways that you can play with background, with color, and with the image itself. That is actually like a pretty good deep dive. I'm going to stop myself right there. We're going to come back in a second in about 4 or 5 minutes. I'll let Tim now take over. He's going to muck around with it as well. And I want you to do the same. All right, you ready, Tim?
I am ready. Yeah, this is where it gets fun. So like, the templates are like really a good way to start sometimes. Like I've remixed templates for lots of different uses too. So like when it's a good template, it doesn't matter. And that's what's cool about it. So I'm gonna go back to my template and just kind of like this is where you can kind of get funky and play with it. I mean, one of the things that I like is sort of like with the background image. So I'm gonna change the background color here, and I like to pick a color. Using the color picker is nice. I'm gonna pick the pink from my shirt there.
Oh,
Um,
cute. I
there you
like
go.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I'm just gonna move some of this text a little bit. And I am gonna just add some more iconography. So that's one of the kind of fun things under elements. There's kind of all of these cool creative assets. So I'm just gonna write the word creative and see what comes up.
Oh, there was
And you get
to
some
be a
funky stuff there.
yeah. Did you see
Oops,
that?
there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
So we're gonna
Oh,
add
I love that. I love that.
add that guy in there.
Cute. I'm loving this guy's head on the side. It's fun.
Yeah, I like that. That's something that's kind of interesting. Like it's like the statue with the kind of fun pieces there. And
Yeah.
then let's add something that is regional to Minneapolis. So I just think of Prince myself when I think of Minneapolis. So I'm just gonna look up
Oh, is that
purple.
why the theme of the
Yeah.
party? Oh, that makes so much more sense now.
So let's grab like just a cool like swash of
Purple
purple
rain.
there.
Yes, I love
And then what I'm
that.
gonna do is I could right click and I could send it backward. So I could bring something else forward. I'm starting to get a lot of stuff on my out there. So I'm going to bring this forward, bring it to front, and then that's just behind there. So it just kind of adds a little flair there. Yeah, so that's exactly what I think of with Minneapolis. Actually, let's try just a purple background, maybe instead of the
Yeah,
pink,
yeah. I think that would be nice. Yeah.
right? Like let's try like there you go. That's cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it
really,
looks good.
yeah, I like
There you
that.
go.
I like that. I like that.
So it's really just having fun with the themes. And there's lots of stuff here. One of the cool things that I
For a
find as a
hat, Tim.
teacher, yeah, I think I'm not a hat guy. I never because with the curly hair, it's hard ever having a hat. Um, but yeah, you could definitely kind of have fun with these. And my favorite thing is when you're creating digitally like this, you're able to do a couple different things. So you're also able to like I could have the text and really get funky with it, and you could animate any piece. And this is sort of fun. So it's nice to be able to share one version of it, but you're able to now make it a video and then also do like a GIF or something like that too. So any of these elements could be animated.
You're going to.
I know. Yeah, we always like bring it to the next level. But there's lots of we have lots of really great creative people here, and it's just important to know that you can do these things. So what you do is totally up to you, but you're able to add any elements. And even if you want to make an animation, you could still just download it as a JPEG too. So you don't need to,
Oh no,
you're
I'm
able to.
just messing with you. I'm just messing with you. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right. How is everyone doing so far? Because we're going to take this actually what Tim was doing. We're going to take it now to the next level. And I want to make sure that everyone is able to get the foundations up and running. So Amy has a question. Could you change one of the background blobs to a different color? Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Let me go back. Let me share my screen. And by the way, I was just bugging you because I was going to show that. All right. So yes. And so if you want to change the color, you'll just click on which one you want, go into fill, and you can either choose it with the color picker, or you can go to custom, or you can look at what's recommended based on whatever you have, or there's a general palette here. So you have different ways of swapping that out. By the way, you can also change the whole background as well as, there's all these shapes. So if you wanted to choose a different shape or a different designed asset, you can kind of play around with it as well. All right. So Tim, I'm loving yours. Mine is not feeling as cool. I'm going to have to kind of step it up a little bit. So first things first, just to kind of recap, you guys have been able to swap out a photo and swap out all the text. Then you learned how to change the colors of the photo using duotone, and also swap out colors as well on your different design elements, and as well change the background. We spoke a little bit about color palettes. Tim started to go into elements a bit, and it was really fun to kind of see what is possible, using different keywords. So this is where you can start to kind of like really make this and design this based on what is your kind of vibe. And I was teasing Tim about animation because that is going to be our run. And this is the really fun part. So as Tim mentioned, at this point, if you're ready and you wanted to kind of be like, okay, I like this, I'm kind of done, I want to be done, you could start to download this as a PNG. If you wanted to remix this as well, you could share it as well and publish it. And I'll go into that later. And that could be that. This could have been your template and you were done. But now let's say you wanted to take this further. And this might not be what you're doing for your social piece, but you could as well, because you could put a video inside social. But this also might be a hack for school as well when you're working with students. So Tim started to show how you can animate. So the moment that you start to animate, you turn what is a pretty static image, right, into a video. This is how videos in Express happen. And now we've turned it into a graphic, into a video. So as Tim mentioned, you add some animation, you can have it kind of breathe a little bit, and I can have it kind of like move out. So you can have a lot of fun with your animations. And what's really fun about this as well is, you are all art teachers, right? And my experience with art is really about iteration and being able to have multiple opportunities to create and also to get feedback, like through that creative process. So one of my very favorite things to do with Adobe Express and the all-in-one editor is actually using this little duplicate button over here and being able to quickly create a duplicate of my scenes. And the reason that I love this is because if I now want to go in here and play around with this iteration, or if I was working in a classroom and I wanted my students to start and then get feedback and be able to show their process over time, right? Process over product, and use this as potentially a portfolio to show growth of their creations or digital creations. This is a really easy hack that I could use in the classroom to do that. So for instance, I'm going to ask Tim, hey, Tim, could you give me 3 specific targeted areas where I might be able to improve my design.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So let's say so it's a little center focus. So like we could move it over. You're kind of pointing, so it'd be nice to point at something.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. Okay. So let's say I decide I'm going to add an element. You know what? Maybe this is actually locked. So I'm gonna
That seems appropriate. Yeah.
yeah, actually that might be kind of cool. I'm gonna like move this over here. I like that. That's a good point. That's good feedback. Oops. There we go. I'm gonna make this a little larger. Maybe I'll play with it a little, like in terms of like how my face is going, right? Okay, cool. Thank you. I like that. So let's do that. What else could be some targeted feedback?
So I think with your image, you might want to add a little bit more brightness to it, the actual image of yourself. You could adjust it maybe.
Yeah, so I might colorize, or maybe I'm just gonna actually like take that off. Let's keep the color. Let's try this. Okay, yeah, I like that.
Cool.
What else?
And then when you have the text, like maybe we'll organize the text just so there's like a sort of like a through line that will bring it from one
Yeah,
thing to the next.
yeah, I like that. That's good feedback. Okay, so let's kind of grab it for here. That's a good starting point. I like that. Thank you. So guess what? This is my original. Oops, art. That's so funny. Why did that happen? Oops, it did it again. Dictionary. Okay, it's having a hard time. So my original actually is on this side. That's okay. I edited the one. I probably I'm sure I can move it on the other end. I'm just like my mouse is being weird right now. So that's super helpful. So I'm actually gonna go. So I actually have the original here, and now I have my new version here, and I'm gonna actually duplicate it one more time. And I'm gonna ask Sherry. Hey, Sherry. Sherry, what are some targeted feedback that you might give me, 3 pieces of feedback that you might give me that I could use here to improve my design?
Oh goodness. I would actually like to see your picture brightened a little bit, like a little more
Okay.
contrast or brightness.
Okay.
Oh, your bright personality, of course.
Okay. I'm hearing you all loud and clear. Let's do this. So let's try this a little bit, but I'm going to actually use I'm going to kind of try to, it's not hitting, right? Like what I'm going for, but it's not bright either. So maybe I just need to take the duotone out. Okay, done. Let's do that. All right. Got it. Okay, and so on and so forth, right? I think you guys are kind of getting the gist of it. So this is such an easy way. Look how fun this is too. And having the students duplicate that, right? Every time that you're asking for more feedback, this could, and by the way, they could ultimately make a whole duplicate of the whole project, of the whole file, and then delete all the pieces and just, like, but now it's there. All of those pieces are there. And by the way, if I wanted to as well, I could do this. I can actually just go ahead, and what I just did is over here next to like where my layers show up, it says view all. So I could actually go here and I could duplicate the whole entire project in my project. Okay, so I did this as like an animation with like, I could show the iterations. If I didn't want to do it that way, I could go in and separate them as projects and then have them working on it that way. I personally like having this as a video because guess what I could do at the end of this? I'm really getting advanced with you guys. I can go
That's all
over
right.
here, but this is the best part, right? And I could do my voiceover. So I can have my students articulate their choices and explain their thinking process, and then turn this into a process piece that they could use for assessment. I could think of nothing more better to have students demonstrate growth in an art classroom than this. So
Absolutely.
so we took the most simple, basic template, and we turned this into a pretty dynamic opportunity for learning, right? When we think about assessment for learning, right? Like those formative checks and also checks for understanding in general, this is such a great way as an art teacher to capture all that growth. So I'm excited to show you those pieces. I'm happy. I was teasing Tim, like, you're gone too far. You know, I'm happy that we're adding those animation parts, because the moment you start to do that, you turn it into a video and you're able to turn it into like that kind of portfolio piece of work. How do you guys feel about that? I hope you like it.
Yeah, and I really love, you know, that approach of iterations is really fantastic in classes, because so many students really like want to like do one version of it, get really attached to it, and then that's it. But you know, anyone that works in the art world at all knows that it's never about like once and done. It's always about variations, and then you often will come up with a better idea that you would never have thought of if you didn't try doing various versions. So it's a really good, you know, a creative process lesson really for students, because regardless if they're going into art or not, I mean, like, it's just good to kind of understand not to like just try to do it one way and that's going to be, you know, make it or break it. You know, that
Yeah.
approach is really helpful.
And this is the great blend between analog and digital, right? Like, there's I obviously, like, I love the physical materials of, you know, of art. I think being able to quickly iterate your ideas and sketch them out, and then like be able to duplicate, be able to really get in there and like take conceptually those ideas and quickly create with the digital element is so incredibly powerful for the arts. I also, you know, one of the things that we say in our workshops is like, it's not a puppy. Like, you know, when you get, like Tim just said, like, you get so attached to your work. And so one of the things that I used to do when I taught design is I would have students, I would time block, and I'd be like, okay, we're going to take 20 minutes and I want you to like create 10 different designs. Like, you know, start working on it. And I'd be like, duplicate. And then it'd have to change it, duplicate. And then like, when you do that, you become more loose because you're not investing all your time, all your energy. It's not a puppy. You're not raising it. You don't have to love it that way. And so this is such a great way of being able to get the students to take that to the next level. All right. Am I missing anything, Tim?
No, and I just want to point out, Katie asked the question, does Adobe Express have a cost, which is a great question. And then Will did answer, for K-12 accounts, it's free. And that's one of the things I also love about Adobe Express. So it does need to be turned on at the district level. But, you know, almost every school that I've ever gone to really does have it. And, you know, a lot of times it's people
Safe
just don't know
to
about
say
it.
it, you know, like, it's true. When it's kind of deployed, you know, district level, you know that like it's being set up the way that it needs to be set up. So, and Katie, I'm not sure where you're based out of. I mean, if you just let us know, what state are you in, because we can always kind of like direct you in the right direction as well. But yes, it is free for K-12 accounts. So now you are ready to, hold on, I'm going to choose the one I want. Here we go. So it's funny because I thought I made this, I don't know, I thought I switched it up, but it's being weird that it didn't show. Maybe it's this one. Oh, there it is. Okay. So let's say now I'm ready to go. I'm actually going to probably just delete these other two, just because it's gonna turn them into one long movie. So I'll kind of delete some of my scenes. Here we go, delete scene. This is gonna be my final one. And so when I'm ready, I'll go over here, and as Tim mentioned, you don't have to save it as an MP4. I could save this just as a PNG, and I can click on download, and you are ready to share that on all your socials, and you can to let everyone know at NAEA that you're coming. This is going to go out to the news, like to the email, the pre-email that's going out to everybody. So we're really excited to be able to get people creating and sharing, and it's just a fun way to introduce yourself. And I did promise that I would show you how to create this as your own template. So let's say you wanted to remix this for your class and use this as a lesson tomorrow to have your students introduce themselves. You would then just go here, you would go to share, you would make your changes, and you would go publish to the web. And right over here, I'm going to go allow others to remix. And so there's actually multiple projects. I'm just going to choose the one that I want. Because remember, I made 2 projects. You can remix a whole bunch of them, which is cool. And I would just go publish link. and it'll just grab me a link. I give that to my students. I'm good to go. I can make this as a remix video and they can remix the video. So there's lots of cool options. Sherry, remember when you couldn't do that? Tim, remember when you couldn't do that? This is
I
the
do.
best thing. This is the best
That's
thing.
great.
All right. Well, any questions for us?
Well, I'm excited to see some of these. Make sure you post them online as we're coming into the conference. I added a Padlet as well that is up there, and the password is Steam. So if you want to share yours, Sherry, do you have one? You can share it now. We'll take a look at how yours is coming out.
I'm going to open this up here. I'm going to have it open so we can see
Oh,
it in the
perfect.
and as people are adding theirs in there, I'm going to share a little bit with you guys about where you can find us at NAEA. I'll come back to this as, oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, this is so fun. This is your Adobe Padlet. How awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
So
my
these are
goodness.
some of the
So cool. Wow. Okay, I'm going to come back to this in a second. I'll let you guys add. I do just want to take a moment and let you guys know how we will be there and where you can find us. So as I mentioned, will be there with Martha and some of our other team members, Claudio I mentioned, and a few others. And you can find us in the digital playground in booth 300. We will also be on the main stage. Will and Claudio will be speaking a little bit about well, now I can let Will share a little more, but they'll be on the main stage and you can find them on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So there'll be some sort of bigger topic sessions that you can catch them there. And then, of course, we're going to have 2 amazing workshops running throughout the time that we're there. And they're going to be at the Center Auditorium. One is going to be on generative AI, exploring generative creativity. And the other one is building digital portfolios in the art classroom. So there are 20-minute sessions, but they're great. And I think that they really will lend themselves to some of the problems of practice that you might be facing in the arts classroom. So definitely tell others because we're kind of in the playground sort of area that we do have sessions happening that the time we're there. And of course, I really want to encourage you. I'm so excited because we have been reinvigorating, right, Tim?
absolutely, yeah.
Right, Sherry? Right? Yes. And so I want you to join our Facebook group. We've grown it just last week alone. No joke, guys, 300 people, new members in
Oh,
one
wow.
week. Yes. And it's exploding. And we're so excited because a lot of you community members are starting to share. And it's so cool to see what's happening and the creativity that is coming out of our community. So please go ahead, click it. I am one of the moderators. I will go in, I will let you in. We're really excited to invite you into our community. And of course, feel free to sign up for our monthly email that we do not send a billion emails, one email once a month. And it is something we just started called the ACE Insider. And it's quick and it'll give you a recap of where we are and what is happening for the month with community. So I want to invite you to join our community today. So that's that. That's all I have to say. I don't know if Will has anything he'd like to add.
So could you switch back to the Padlet? I see a few people added. I just want to check out how they did.
Jerry.
Very cool. Yeah.
Fun. There you are. Hey, Sherry. Oh my God, that's so cute. Let's see.
I don't know if it works, but you guys, I was so excited when you brought up the video because if you've played it all with Adobe Firefly, there's a new feature where you can like put in your picture and then modify it. So I
Oh,
took a
cool.
picture at the Orchid show and then I went in and like just gave it different styles. It's so much fun. So
Oh my God,
I
this is so
encourage you
cool.
to try
She's
that too.
behind. I don't know
Oh,
where
that's
you.
super cool.
Oh, Sherry, you're so creative. Stop.
That's amazing.
That is really cool, Sherry.
Thank you. Super fun. You can tell I'm on spring break, right?
Oh my God. Look at this group. Look how cool these are.
Yeah, Heather, that's amazing. Great job.
I love this. These are amazing.
And
I
that's
love
Katie.
you
Nice. I like that you included that piece of artwork. That's great, Katie.
and she's excited about sharing her robotic petting zoo project. That sounds like so
Yeah,
much fun.
it's going to be right next to the Adobe booth. So she's going to be in the digital playground, and she's also at the ArtMediaTech Pecha Kucha.
Oh my goodness,
So that's
guys.
awesome.
Fantastic. Oh, how fun.
Oh, there you go. Sahar too. That's great.
This is awesome. This is beautiful. And you use duotone. I love it. So super straightforward. I love these. And I'm kind of like really tempted to look through all your other projects. I'm not gonna lie.
There's
Oh,
a lot of it in there. Yeah.
hey, Amy. This is
Very cool. Amy, nice job. Cool.
very cool. I
I
like
like
this.
that you worked the Connected Art Network into. That's great.
Oh, I love this. It's so simple. I love these. And definitely share these. I think it's such a fun way to build community as well and sort of get excited about the conference that's coming next week. I don't know
Yeah,
if
and Shay
go ahead.
Shay mentioned too that do we have a hashtag? Yeah, definitely use hashtag Adobe EDU Creative when you post, and also hashtag NAEA24. Also, we have hashtag ArtEdTech is for the Art Media Group. So 3 hashtags that you could use as well. I'll put them in the chat as well.
NAEA, I'm writing it. NAEA, what is it? NAEA 24?
Yeah,
And what was the last one? It was art.
ArtEdTech.
Amazing. Here we go. I just put it up.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Absolutely. Oh, these are fantastic.
Oh,
Hey,
cool. Nice.
perfect.
And then Wacom. Nice.
Nice. You guys are nailing it. Oh, I'm so glad.
They look great.
I mean, and we have like, I mean, there's just so much, there's infinite possibilities here. So thank you guys. And I may just have to like stock all of your Adobe Padlet later. I'm not gonna lie. I'm dying to know what these are all about.
Yeah, there's quite a bit there. And thanks everyone for coming out. I'm really looking forward to actually seeing so many of you in person in Minneapolis. Hard to believe it's going to be a week from today, but very exciting. And I'm looking forward to seeing more of these up on social media.
Me too. I'm gonna be checking these out and retweeting you guys. I'm sorry I won't be there, but you will be in great hands with our team. Thank you so much for coming. And we will have actually after NAEA, as I mentioned, we are not just sponsoring, we are partnering with you. We're going to be hosting a series of Creativity Institutes virtually cohorts. So if you like this kind of work that we're doing, we actually are going to be going into deeper dives into a creativity cohort. We call them the Creativity Institutes. I know that Tim, Shay, Sherry, a lot of you are have done them. You are facilitators of them. They're phenomenal. I don't think I'm just saying this as bias. Like they really
Yeah, no,
are.
they're super cool. Yeah, it's a
And
great
they're
experience to try.
absolutely. So we'll be hosting them with NAEA. And so be on the lookout. That is an offering that we will be partnering with you guys. So if you like this, come back.
Excellent. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a terrific night.